Bela Hazan was another kasharit, another connector. She was amazingly beautiful, and she managed to operate in Poland for many, many years. She had a Polish name, Bronia. She joined the Hechalutz Party, which was a Zionist youth organization. However, her dress, which is contemporary style, foreshadows the uniform she had to wear as a prisoner in Auschwitz with the gray and blue stripes. And on the left, an image based on a photograph the Nazis took of her as a prisoner. The number they assigned her on her shaved head is 24453, Katsetnik, which meant concentration camp prisoner. And her real name is also inscribed on the collar of her Nazi uniform. She did manage to survive, and she immigrated to Israel. Bronka Kliebanski was a very talented actor. She was able to use her thespian skills to pass as a Pole, not a Jew. Her name, Bronka, is backwards over the left corner. It's hidden. She was in hiding. She belonged to the Dror, or freedom movement, and Dror is written in Hebrew letters. She has a very innocent look, but she was able to smuggle an amazing archive of all sorts of information that are now on record at Yad Vashem, the World Holocaust Center in Jerusalem. One of the many things she smuggled was medicines. So there's an RX in green, and Bialystok was the city she was from in Poland. Chajka Klinger considered herself a revolutionary. She was born to a poor Hasidic or ultra-Orthodox family in Bedzin, but abandoned the religious aspect of being Jewish to become a revolutionary. The revolutionary symbol of a clenched fist is patterned on her tie, and her name Chajka is to the left of her face. In contrast to her revolutionary spirit, I depicted her in a very delicate blouse with a scalloped collar and scallops across the top of the painting. She wrote a book after she immigrated to Israel called Miyoman HaGhetto, a ghetto diary in English, which is pictured to the right of her painting. And she was severely, severely depressed. She considered herself sentenced to live, which is written in red at the top left of the painting. And she ultimately committed suicide when she was living in Israel. Faye Schulman survived by joining the Russian partisans. Her Yiddish name was Fagela, and her English name, Faye. She was often pictured as a Russian partisan holding a rifle. She was also a photographer by profession, so the collar on her dress is composed of little cameras with which she documented Nazi atrocities. And she was the longest living survivor. She died in 2021, not that long ago. This is Frumka Plotnicka. Her name is backwards, upside down on the right bottom area. Because of her stereotypical Jewish look, she was not able to be out and about. Frumka had a heavy Jewish accent in her Polish, so it was another reason she could not be out and about, but she wrote missives as symbolized by the Hebrew words in the background, which indicated labor camps, concentration camps, work camps, just to tell people in the Jewish ghettos what was actually going on. And she was killed ultimately. She was caught and killed. The painting is incomplete. She's incomplete. Her life was incomplete. Gusta Davidson was a founder of the fighting pioneer movement, the Hechalutz HaLochem, which was an underground fighting organization in Krakow, Poland. She and her husband were both executed in prison. Behind her, I have blue bars which symbolize the Montelupek prison. And over her shoulder on the left is the number 15. That was the number of her prison cell. Her collar is decorated with pink hearts. But the irony of these hearts is that each one has the Hebrew word nikama in it. Nikama means revenge. And that was what she was trying to get against the Nazis. Gusta was her Jewish name, but her Polish name in the underground was Justina. That intersects with the name Gusta on the right and kind of drips down the page to symbolize that she did not survive. Haika Grossman was originally from Bialystok, but she went to Vilna and helped organize Jews there. She joined HaShomer HaTzair, or the Young Guard, which was a very left-wing socialist youth movement when she was a teenager. She smuggled guns, information, ammunition, anything she could, and I represented this by the gun pattern in her blouse. She ultimately immigrated to Israel after helping other people to get out, and she joined the Knesset, Israel's parliament, still as a member of HaShomer HaTzair, the left-wing Zionist socialist movement. Hela Schupper was another beautiful Polish Jewish woman who managed to pass as a Pole. She spoke flawless Polish. She actually had dark hair, which I've indicated by the brown roots, but she dyed it blonde. She dressed very fashionably and was out and about. She joined a Jewish resistance organization called the ZOB. She also fought in Mila 18, which was a bunker in the Warsaw Ghetto. And I'd like to just read what is written in the background of her painting. This is a quote from her book, Farewell to Mila 18. Go on living to tell the story of what happened to us during the years of occupation, of the murder of millions, of life in the ghettos, of the unequal, impossible, and heroic struggle against the Nazi beast, and the hope that I would participate in building Eretz Israel, which she did. Lonka Kozibrodska smuggled all kinds of arms, news, and equipment. She was able to smuggle weapons, information, and forged ID papers in suitcases, which are pictured behind her hair in purple and green. To the left of her face is her forged passport, her forged identity paper. The name she used on this one was Barbara Biernacka. She had several aliases. Her real name, Lonka, is below her face. And above her head is an image of the entrance to Auschwitz-Birkenau. The flames of Auschwitz ultimately engulfed her. You can see a symbolic representation of flames to the left of her head. Niuta Teitelbaum managed to pass very easily. She was from a Hasidic family in Łódź, Poland, and attended Warsaw University. She joined the People's Guard, which was an armed resistance organization of the Communist Polish Workers' Party. She was known as Little Wanda with the braids in Polish, but she was actually an assassin. And you can see the assassin symbol. She brazenly walked into Gestapo headquarters at one point, pretending she was a girlfriend of one of the Nazis, possibly pregnant, and she was let in to see the Nazi officer, and she shot him in the head and walked out. She was considered one of the heroines of the Warsaw Ghetto, and she unfortunately did not survive, as you can see from the drips on the painting. Renia Kulkielka joined the resistance in Poland when she was only 18 years old. She was always a fashionista, expressed in her red dress and red lipstick. The name Kukielka in Polish means a cuckoo bird, and I've got 5 cuckoo birds in the background. They're also prison bars because she was imprisoned in the Mysłowice prison in 1943. She was caught with forged documents. Roza Robota was from Chechnya, Poland, and was a member of Hashomer Hatzair, or the Young Guard. She was imprisoned in Auschwitz with her entire family. Her motto was Chazak ve'amatz, be strong and have courage, and that is written in Hebrew. She was part of a plot with the Sonar commandos, the people who loaded the dead bodies into the crematorium, to smuggle gunpowder to blow up the Nazis in the crematorium. She was caught and hung with 2 other Jewish women who were part of this plot. As she was hanged, she sang the Jewish national anthem, Hatikva, which means the hope. The background, the Hebrew letters behind her hair, and the bodice of her dress is composed of the music of Hatikva. Tema Schneiderman was another resistor, a Katsarit. She forged documents and helped organize immigration routes so that Jews could flee to Palestine and other countries where they might be safe. She brought money, news, and moral support to the Jews who were imprisoned in the Warsaw Ghetto. By doing this, she gained the name the hero, Die Heldin, which is Yiddish for the hero. She died in the 1943 Action of the Warsaw Ghetto. Tosia Altman was a young resistance fighter. She joined the Hashomer Hatzair, or Young Guard, fighting resistance movement, and ZOB, the Jewish Combat Organization. She smuggled fake IDs, weapons, and print information in and out of the ghetto. She was rescuing people as the Warsaw Ghetto was burning when the Nazis set it afire, and she managed to escape through the sewers in the city. She used a ladder to climb out. She was severely burned and then subsequently caught by the Nazis and tortured, and she died a couple of days later, age of 24. This is Vitka Kempner. She thought of herself as a Polish patriot. She fought with the Polish resistance, and at the end of the war, she was given the Polish Badge of Courage. She smuggled a bomb out of the ghetto and blew up a Nazi transport train, killing over 200 German soldiers. And I've symbolized that with railroad tracks on the top left with her name Vitka on the tracks. When she wasn't blowing up trains, she smuggled weapons in and out of the ghetto and helped the Vilna Jews escape. She took them through the sewers to resistance camps in the forests. And I've patterned her blouse with trees to symbolize the forest where they escaped. The FPO was one of the Jewish resistance groups, so I've got that to the left of her face, along with the Hebrew word nikama, which means revenge, and that was another Jewish resistance group. She ultimately went to Palestine. Vladka Meed was an amazing woman. Like many of the others, she did not look Jewish. She spoke flawless Polish and was able to pass herself off as a Pole. She smuggled weapons, supplies, and information in and out of the Warsaw Ghetto. Her name in and out of the stripes symbolizing the ghetto. In the peachy background, there are little bombs. She was a bomb smuggler as well. She also smuggled Jewish children to the homes of non-Jews for protection during the war, and she forged false ID papers as well. She immigrated to the United States and became one of the most important people bearing witness to the Holocaust. Zelda Treger did not look Jewish, being blonde-haired and blue-eyed. She was a member of the Nikama movement, meaning revenge. She managed to smuggle arms and explosives by becoming friends with non-Jews who worked on the railways. So the necktie she wears is patterned with explosives. She managed to smuggle arms in coffins. You can see the coffins in the yellow and orange band behind her head and to the right of her right shoulder. Her real name, Zelda, is on her back shoulder on the left of the painting. The name she used as a smuggler, Sofia Warsawska, is on her forward shoulder on the right of the painting. Zivia Lubetkin was considered one of the founders of the Jewish Fighting Organization, the ZOB, whose letters appear on the bottom left of the painting. She was a member of the Hechalutz, or the Pioneer Organization, written above her head in Hebrew letters, and she fought in the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. Warsaw is also to the left of her face, and her name to the right of her face. She was an inspiration to many people in the Warsaw Ghetto, and she helped establish the Ghetto Fighters Museum in Israel.